What's everybody? We're back on day number right there. Here we go. Today, um, we're here. We're in Seal Beach. We've made it. We've got another 24 hours until we start slinging the offload stuff. But tomorrow's a big cleanup day, right? You gotta get the ship nice and shiny and get her looking good for coming back home. Got a lot of work to do. Luckily, I ain't gonna lie, I got the first watch, which means all that work I'm not gonna be doing. Unluckily, that means some of that work might not be done properly or correctly, to be quite frank, because I'm not there. Sometimes shit happens like that. So I'll be giving out orders from the core deck to my sailors as they make shit happen, and a good opportunity for them to take control and lead it up and make sure that it happens the way it's supposed to. Good thing we talked about this earlier in the day and got it all briefed up, and they understand what my expectations are. Look at that. Ahead of the game always, right? Ain't gonna catch me slipping. So we're in Seal Beach. The homie Carlos came up. The old triad is back together. Some people called us the mini triad. I don't think some people liked that, because I don't think the captain or XO didn't like that. I think other people didn't like that, right? If they heard about it, right? Not no one, many people, weak leaders, right? Do not like to be questioned. They in their position of power use sentence enhancers for that. They don't like that to be questioned or challenged because they feel that it will be taken or stripped away, right? So I know when the old triad, when the mini triad got together, we were forced to be reckoned with. So Carlos came up, me, him, and Jenny. We got back together, talked about the deployment, how everything went, how some of the sailors are doing it. He was the old deck chief, so they loved him, man. They loved him. He's an old school chief, just like me. As old school as could be, I guess, for today's generation. And he's doing some cool things, and we're picking his brain about some of the things he's doing. He's going to like SEA, and he took the little enlisted leadership chief course, and it's real interesting the things he was saying. And one of which was like a younger chief was talking about there being no parking for chiefs. And it's real interesting because he called him out. He said, well, that's your fault. This chief, I guess, he's been in only like 13 years now, right? He's like, that's your fault. And I think he's being general, but like that's the generation of sailor that really started changing the Navy, right? The sailors that came in like 2010-ish, 2010 and later, right? Those are the sailors that really started changing the Navy. Some would say for better, some would say for worse. I'm just going to say that they changed it. Okay, those are the ones that, really started making the heartache about how advancement happened, right? And now what do we see? We see the advancement completely changing. We see advancement going off of billets, strictly billets. After you make third class automatically in 30 months, right, which is 2.5 years, which in 2.5 years I was a second class, and you'll be a third class, okay? Now to make second, you'll have to take a specific billet for that second class billet, okay? So, I mean, the days are numbered. I'd say within less than 2 years, there will be no more advancement exams. So there will be no more opportunity to show how intelligent you are about your rate. And the Navy will, although the MIGPON puts out that we're going for warfighting competency, technical expertise, there's nothing that fucking measures that at all. Nothing. After the advancement exams are done and they change to billet-based advancement straight across the board from E5 up to fucking E9, it's done. You cannot measure technical mastery at all anymore. Show me how. And that is that generation of sailor that pushed for that. That said, well, I'm a bad test taker. It's only people that are advancing are the ones with the good evals, right? They're not as smart, and so they push to do away with advancement exams because they didn't like it, because they couldn't study or whatever the fucking excuse was, okay? And as I tell all my sailors, and they laugh at me, and they don't like it. A lot of people don't like it when I say this, but the Navy gives you the answer. It's multiple choice. You just gotta be 50% smarter than 2 of the questions, and you'll be good to go. That's it. It's graded on a curve. People think, oh, I got an 80. I got a perfect score on the exam. And they think that means that they got was it 150 now? 150 out of 150. No, you didn't, right? They could throw 50 of those questions out the fucking window because everybody got them wrong, right? And when it's graded on the curve, it doesn't mean you got that many questions right. It means out of the 80 points that they fucking math it down to, that you scored the most. That doesn't even mean, it doesn't mean shit. I love it when sailors tell me, oh yeah, well, I was in the 96th percentile. And I go, well, what was your final exam score? And they go, it was a 54. You scored a 54, right? Out of 80, which whatever the fuck, again, back to that, really don't mean shit, right? Because it's graded on a curve. But you're telling me a 54 and you're in the 96th percentile? So what was the 99th? A 59? A 60? That's not good. That's not fucking good, right? At any rate, he had this chief in there, and he was telling him that was his generation. It's that generation that made those complaints about parking, about exams, about advancement should be based on merit and da-da-da-da, right? It's that generation. And it happens with every generation. I'm sure my generation, I can't identify it because I'm in it, but I'm sure there's some older people that can say, no, this is your generation of chief did this, or your generation of sailor did this, and changed this. I'd have to stand there and be like, all right, then, yeah, I could probably see where that happens. Someone pointed out to me. Let me know down in the comments. People that joined from 2000 to 2006. What did we fuck up, right? But I can tell you, motherfuckers that joined like 2008, especially 2010, 2015, that little window gap. Those are the ones fucked it all up, right? And so this chief was complaining about parking, and my boy called him out. It was like, that was your generation that fucked that up. That's what the quay wall along 32nd used to be all the officer parking, right? Because it'd be your department heads, right? So your triad, your department heads, right? Used to be all along the quay wall of 32nd Street from Piers 1 all the way up there to 6. Yeah, there's a break right there at like 5, right? And then it jumps over to 6. All used to be that. And then the first 2 rows up there was all, there's yellow lines that used to go flank them, right? And that was East 7 above parking, right? I was never mad at it, and this goes back to something I've said before, like, what's the benefit? What's the benefit of advancing? And this goes more to another point, right? What's the benefit of advancing and becoming a chief? There's none. And for the people that sit there and say, like, oh, it's a privilege to lead sailors, like, get off the fucking catchphrase of your week, buddy, catchphrase of the last couple of years, talking about privilege, right? It's a responsibility for sure. It's a heavy responsibility to lead and to make sure that they're being provided for and what they're entitled. Right? There's a contractual agreement here, and they have entitlements. Check the LES; it's right there. Okay, but outside of that, like I don't look at this as a privilege to lead them. I look at it as a job and a responsibility that I will be held accountable for if I don't lead them correctly. Okay. And I think we need to get way away from that. Okay. But it was that generation. A lot of things changed in that generation. And I heard sailors on the motherfucking mess deck the other day. I was giving training to one of my CSs. My CS trying to get his ESWAS, right? Young seaman getting after it, right? I was explaining things to him, and he has a lot of questions. He's new to the Navy. Been in only a couple years now, right? But he still has a lot of questions and don't understand everything. So I'm explaining to him, and I was like, there was a generation of sailor that when they came in, they didn't want to take advancement exams. They thought that everyone should just get advanced automatically at some point. That they complained that they weren't good test takers, that it should be based off of just your hard work and not an exam because everyone's not a good test taker and all this shit. And all that generation of sailors that did all the complaining, it finally got to the top, right? That's when, like, you might not stick around long enough to see a result of it, because these are big, slow turns, right? Like, it's not sports car, it's a big ship, right? And it takes long to course correct. Sentence enhancers again, right? Because it's not always a fucking correction, right? This is not a correction. We're not doing good by this. Okay. When my boy told me, my boy back home, Nick, shout out Nick, regular guest on the show, right? When he told me that he went to the Supply Road show and they were talking about this, about like being an E5, doing back-to-back C, and then you'd be an E5 or some shit like that. He'd have to tell me the details, okay? But talking about pretty much you'll be an E5 in like 5 years, 6 years, some shit like that, after you completed your entire sea duty. What incentive is that to stay in the Navy? Motherfuckers do not want to take forever to rank up and be like, ooh, this is it. Yeah, this makes me want to stay in the Navy. Who the fuck are you kidding? For real, right? You know why I re-enlisted? Because I was an E5 in 2.5 motherfucking years. And I knew when I was going to my next duty station, when the results came, the results for E5 came out, it took me 3 times to make third, right? I went from E1, E2 in boot camp, waited for E3, 3 times to make third, okay? 3? Yeah, I think 3. Yeah, pretty sure 3. Not 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 times to make third, okay? Made it. First time up, made second, okay? Because I was actually doing a lot more fucking work, learning a lot more things there on a USNS ship still, but doing financials, learning about things. And I made it. I had transferred already. I took the exam in March. I transferred the next month in April. I was home on leave, right? About to go to the Russell in Hawaii. And my sponsor, LS2 Navarro, emailed me and was like, hey man, congratulations, you made second. Because my name was already at the new command, and they had found out. And I was like, I remember like jumping out of there was old ass computer that my mom had, right? Old ass by saying like they got in like 98, 99. This is 2008 already. And I was checking my email there, and I read it, and I remember jumping up, being happier than fucking a pig in shit about making second class in 2.5 years. 2.5, 3.5. I'm tripping. That's 3.5. I'm tripping. Not 2.5. 3.5. Right? I can't math right now. 04, 5, 6, 7, 3.5. Excuse me. 3.5 years. I'm not mathing right now. All right. So 3.5 years. Okay. That's still a lot. That's still a year and a half earlier than 5. Okay. You'll say, well, the new sailors, they're gonna make it in 30 months, which is 2.5. Right? Okay, cool. But that's only E4. Right? So just a year later, I was boom, boom, second class. And you know what I didn't have to do? I didn't have to take no stinking ass billet for an E5. I just took an exam and I did well on it. This, like, you're going to get sailors that come in as E1s, right? And they're going to wait that 2.5, and then they're going to have to wait even longer. They're not even going to be able to make second because, again, the test is going to go away. Right? The test is going to be gone. And they're going to finish a sea tour at that 4.5 years, 5 years. And they're going to be like, fuck, I'm still third class. And there'll be some short billets that are E5. But most of those billets that they're going to make like that are going to be at sea. And they'll be like, well, hey, check it out. If you do just 3 more years at sea, we'll make you an E5. Obviously, look, shipmate, we're going to make you an E5 before you show up there. So you'll show up there and you'll get paid. And this other thing, you get paid immediately, right? So you frock 30 days. This goes to how they're doing chiefs or senior chiefs and master chiefs right now too in the marketplace, which there'll be more conversation on that later. But like you get frock 30 days before you transfer to your new command, and then upon arrival you're promoted. Which those who are in the Navy or not in the Navy, what frocked is like you get to wear it, but you don't get paid for it. Usually you get to wear it for 6 months ahead of getting paid for it. When you're chief, you get to wear it usually for a year, unless you're really old fucking senior first class, and you get paid immediately. Okay, but so you're frocked, so you get to wear it, you get all the responsibility, everyone hates you for it, but you don't actually get paid until you're advanced or promoted to the actual rank, right? Why ever they do it, right? Funding, money, Congress, whatever. So, again, let's take it back. It's that generation that fucked it all up. That generation of bitching sailor. And every generation has plenty of bitching sailors, right? But that generation that bitched the most, and some of them were in, some of them weren't. Like some of them just bitched about it, sent all the complaints up, rolled out after 4 or 6 years, whatever. Again, they're not seeing this because it's been a slow change happening. And I do not see how at all, with the current retention problems, the current recruiting problems, how any of the changes they are doing is promotes people wanting to stay in at all. You just gotta wait. There's no way for you to make it early. Which again, there's still a map meritorious advancement, right? But that's gonna be even harder to do because they've already kneecapped that, right? When they say like you can't advance CS3s to CS2, you can't advance BM2s to BM1. Why? Through the map process because there's already too many. They don't have enough at the rank, and they have other ways. You take that C billet, right? Take that C billet, and then we'll make you a BM1. Take that C billet, then we'll make you a CS2, right? Other than that, there's nothing else. It's all fucked up, man. That's what I'm saying. Bottom line, bitching ass sailors, you get what you reap what you sow, and now we sowing it. And good luck, right? We seen it before during Perform to Serve. I had a real good friend who was PTS'd out, Performed to Served out. For what reason, I have no idea. It wasn't like he had bad evals or anything like that. He had good, like, middle of the road evals. Hard worker, fucking knew his shit. He was OS. He'd broken service once, came back in as LS, and he got after it, right? Worked center soup, knew all the maintenance, doing everything he could do. And for some reason, boom, just like that, PTS out. Sorry, you're not good enough. And then a couple of years later, they're just trying to keep everybody in because PTS fucking fucked up and got rid of too many people, right? And here we are back again, making the long course correction is finally bearing fruit. And watch, here in the next 5 years, 6 years, you're going to see it try to course correct again because they messed up and they're going to realize it. And I don't know how they're not already realizing it, like how none of this is incentivizing people to re-enlist, to get recruited, right? If you're going to recruit people, you need more than this, right? The, what you call that? The, what's their plan now? I forget. Their TSP plan, the retirement plan, right? Where the sailors nowadays, it's like they don't even get a 20-year pension. Not an automatic one. It's 20 years, but it's at a reduced rate. It's not at the 50%. It's at a reduced rate. And then it's cool that the federal government will match you up to 5%. So you put in 5% to your retirement, government puts in, can match another 5%. Boom, you got 10% going to a retirement fund, right? By that 20 years when you retire, what is it, like 40 or something percent, right? But again, it's not an incentive to stay longer. It's an incentive to be like, yo, let me go in, let me do 4 or 6 years, maybe 8 years even, right? With even more changes they've made lately. And let me just get that 5% off the government every fucking year for like 8 years. That's a good chunk of change. It really is. And then let me get the fuck out because by then I've already nestled up a good little fucking Easter basket of bunnies right there, right? And I'm good. Not good like for life, but I'm good. I've just robbed them, right? Free money. I robbed them of it, and I'm gone. Gone. You want to get people recruit? How about you tell them, how about bump the retirement? Bump the retirement from 50% to 60%. Tell them come do 20 years, and you'll get 60%. With a max of anything after 20, still 75, right? How about you do that? Like, that would be cool. Right, make it active right the fuck now before I retire because I want that 60% too. All right. What else could we do? How about stop lying to them? Stop promoting bullshit. You have those Navy recruiters start telling the fucking truth. Okay. The fleet weeks are kind of cool, but it's all dog and pony. Right. Tell the truth, man. Like I said before in the video, it's hard out here, but a lot of times it's worth it. At some points, there's really high highs. There's some medium. You want to keep it medium with the highs and then bring back to the medium. Sometimes there's real lows. Sometimes there's really low lows. But you're going to come back up from those lows. You're going to get back to that mid ground. You get to those highs. My sailor right now, he's realizing we just flew off the helo for the last time this morning. A couple of them went home. They're good. The rest of the air desk going to get off tomorrow. Right? And he told me, he's like, it's crazy. He's like, we're at the end of deployment. And he's like, I'm trying to see what you're talking about with like, he's talking to me. He's like, how like every day you hate doing the same shit every day. Fuck this. And then when it's the last one, it's like, damn, that was the last one. I'm like, yeah, man. That's how I feel about this deployment. Hated it. Fucking hated it a lot. But damn, it's my last one. And it hits in the feels a little bit, but you know what? Also feels good that's the last one. See you tomorrow.